The third dish we're doing is a beautiful dessert, and it's based on the classic cheesecake, but we're sort of having a bit of a fun with it, and we're making this amazing sabayon, which is infused with mandarin juice. So being very seasonal, the mandarins at the moment are stunning. So we make a little reduction of the mandarin juice, put it into the sabayon, and then for the biscuit base, we're actually making a nut crumble, which has got burnt butter and a little bit of rosemary in it. And those sort of earthy flavours with the seasons just work really well. I need someone to give me a hand. Have we got any volunteers? Up you come. We're going to make a sabayon and cheesecake base, which we're going to put into a piping bag and pipe little things all over the plate. So we've got burnt butter and rosemary being flavoured into our biscuit base, which is absolutely sensational. And then we're going to have a passion fruit jelly. I think this third course really complements the rest of the meal, because as you move from that really light entree into your more robust, fairly rich, long braised pork, then you get this lovely freshness of the mandarins. There's a little bit of passion fruit on there as well, but you still get that sort of comfort earthiness from a sort of a classic dessert, that richness from the crumble, but it's still quite light and refreshing, and I think a really nice way to finish off the evening. Now, we're going to get you whisking, don't we? So, eggs. So we've got whole egg and yolks in here. We're going to dissolve with some stock syrup, which is basically equal quantities of water and sugar boiled for a few minutes. And then we're going to squeeze out the excess moisture from the gelatine. The gelatine is just going to help it set, and then that's still a little bit warm, I think. We'll just heat that up a touch more to dissolve the gelatine in that liquid. If you could start whisking that for me, that would be wonderful. This is just normal store-bought cream cheese, and then we're going to add some cream to it. You know how cream cheese is quite thick and very hard? We just want to break it down slightly. So the cream cheese is in our lovely little blender, and we're going to add our cream to it, and we're sort of going to mix it around till it's nice and thick and creamy. But what we're trying to do is we're basically going to make this wonderful mandarin sabayon and fold it through into our cream cheese mix and bring the two together. In order for them to mix well, they need to be of similar consistency, right? So it's important that you pay attention to what's going on in here, because if I don't, then it'll become too thick and hard to incorporate. So I think that looks about right-ish. And then in here, we've got our stock syrup, our reduced mandarin juice, and our zest, and our gelatine. And we're going to pop that into Michelle's. Yep. And then if you want to come along over our bain marie, and then whisk for dear life, because, sorry? Yeah, it's going to be quite, it's basically going to double in volume, go very pale, and unless you end up making scrambled eggs. But so we've got rolled oats. This is for our biscuit base, so it's almost like a lovely crumble. Brown sugar and a little touch of baking powder there. We'll just mix all that around together, and then the idea is that we're just going to rub the butter into the mix. So we're just going to break it up into little pieces. We're just going to mix all this butter together. And then, did you want to play this little game for a while? Do this for a little while. I won't muck it up. Look great so far though. So that's our oats and brown sugar. And then we're going to add a little bit of egg white to that. The egg white just binds it all together. We basically get 2 sheets of greaseproof paper and roll it out, stick it on a baking tray. And then if you're going to use it straight away, you can rest it in the fridge for a bit and then bake it. Or what's really good is to do a good quantity, roll them out and stick them in the freezer. Because then all you can do is take it from those rolled sheets in the freezer, put it straight into the oven and bake it. And once it's baked, you end up with this beautiful biscuit. And then you crumble it all up like this. And then we'll just incorporate a little bit of our cream cheese and cream mix. So we're incorporating the sabayon into that just to bring it to a similar consistency. And then we're going to go back the other way, because you don't want to, I'm using a paddle, you don't want to knock all that wonderful air that Michelle's been putting into it. And then we fold that back through our sabayon, and then it's quite wet, as you'll see, but when you put it into the fridge, because of a gelatin content in there, it's going to set. And then, thank you very much for your help, it's very kind. So once the sabion's set, we put it into a piping bag. These are disposable piping bags. You just buy them in a roll. But you can also use like sandwich bags and just cut the corner off them. and put the wee nozzles in there. So just so you see what we're doing, so some nice little turns of sabayon, and then a few piles of the biscuit. We have our little jellies, and then a few segments of fresh mandarin, and then a lovely little passion fruit syrup that we reduce. And then these flowers have this beautiful, wonderful little perfume about them. So we just pick off the little petals and we just sprinkle that around using a few different colours. And then we'll just add a little scoop of ice cream to that. Anyone could achieve this dish. I think desserts in particular, I always recommend that you do follow the recipe to start with, just so you can understand where it's sort of going. But anyone could follow the recipe and reproduce it at home with fairly good results.
Thank you very much, Justin.
And can I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Can I thank Cuisine as well for bringing us over, for coming up with this wonderful concept and for inviting us back to New Zealand, and along with all the sponsors, and in particular Daniel Lebron and Electrolux, and also to all of you for being such a wonderful, wonderful audience tonight. And it's always a pleasure to share stories and have a bit of fun, and I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. So thank you all very, very much for coming along this evening.
From High 5 Productions.